Hello, Toads and Toadettes. Super Mario has had a lot of different enemies in its franchise. You know the common ones, the Goombas, the Koopa Troopas, the Bullet Bills, the Thwomps, everything like that, the bosses, Bowser, Bowser Jr., simple stuff like that. But today, I want to focus in on the Mario enemies that Nintendo forgot. Now, there is a lot of these, surprisingly, and I would say 2/3 of Mario's enemies have been forgotten. But today I have chosen a select few enemies and bosses that I thought looked cool, and sadly Nintendo have forgot. I first want to start off with an enemy from Super Mario RPG called the Doppel. This one is kind of weird. I like its design. I think it has a creepy design. It's basically this ghost enemy, and it's kind of weird as it does have magic and physical defense stats, which a lot of ghost enemies in Super Mario RPG do not have, which kind of makes you think. Does look like a ghost, but it could not be a ghost. Their name comes from the German term Doppelganger, but it doesn't really have anything to do with this enemy. I just think it's kind of a creepy looking enemy with kind of weird stats for having physical and magical defense. Yeah, it's just kind of a weird forgotten enemy that I'm kind of glad never came back. Continuing on, we have one that you might actually recognize if you have played your fair share of Mario games, and that is the X-Nauts. These first appeared in Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door under the control of Sir Grodus, another pretty forgotten boss, which is honestly one of my favorite Mario bosses. The X-Nauts were pretty simple enemies. They didn't really do anything crazy, but they had, Magnus Van Groppel was technically an X-Naut, like I said, Sir Grodus, and they were kind of just cool to have instead of just, Goombas and then Bowser. I think it was cool out of Sir Grodus and then the X-Nauts, and they could do different cool things, and they affected the story and all that. Whether you're playing as Peach, you have to sneak in the X-Naut facility and act like a X-Naut. It's pretty cool, and it's kind of sad to see these not come back in another Mario game, but that is another one that has sadly been forgotten. Moving on to one that actually has appeared in recent games, but I just think it's kind of funny looking, and it was honestly something that I would love to see come in like Mario Maker 3. This is Torpedo Ted, originally appearing in Super Mario World. It actually did appear in Galaxy as well. These are basically the underwater versions of a Bullet Bill. They will chase after you in Super Mario Galaxy, in the Boy Base Galaxy, and then also they just kind of work as underwater Bullet Bills in Super Mario World. They have appeared in the new Super Mario games too. The Bullet Bill, and then you have Torpedo Ted. Sadly, it seems that Nintendo has kind of pushed these aside and focused more on the Bullet Bill, which it would be cool to see the Torpedo Ted return, but rest in peace, he has been forgotten. By Nintendo, not me. Rest in peace, brother. Next, we'll be moving on to Hotel Mario. Yes, Hotel Mario does have a interesting Goomba this time, and that is the Rhinestone Goomba. It just works as a faster Goomba, so you might be like, what is so weird about this? It's an Elvis Presley reference. He dresses up like Elvis Presley. Credit to the Mario Wiki saying that their name could come from a song called The Rhinestone Cowboy. It was made by someone who was very influenced by Elvis Presley. This could be true, why it's called the Rhinestone Goomba. Besides that, we have no idea why this even exists. Rest in peace for the one guy who actually wanted this to come in another Mario. Now I'm going to move on to a boss, and I want to start off with Fawful. Fawful was basically the helper of the main villain in Superstar Saga, which actually ended up being the main villain in Superstar Saga, and also the main villain in Bowser's Inside Story, the Mario and Luigi games. He is honestly one of my favorite video game characters, period. Just his personality and his theme song and everything about him, I love Fawful. His cockiness is very funny as well. How he always, has this big castle, and Bowser's Inside Story just thinks that he can just take over Bowser's kingdom. And honestly, just gives off a good plot. The boss fight was also pretty sick in that game. I won't spoil anything though. And then, once you beat him in Bowser's Inside Story, we never saw him again, which was kind of weird, as I feel like he was becoming a staple for Mario, one of the Mario staple bosses. But I guess I was wrong, but he will live on. He has fury. Coming up next, we are going back to Super Mario World, and that was with the Blargg. They'll basically just pop out of the lava while you're on a skull lift. They are pretty rare enemies, don't really encounter them that much in Super Mario World. You can also spin and jump on top of them if you don't have a Yoshi. If Yoshi can just kind of go on top of them. They are pretty cool looking, and it was a pretty cool concept. Sad to see that they didn't get much screen time, and they never came back. Next is Antasma from Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Antasma is basically the main villain in Mario and Luigi Dream Team. His design is sick. I love just everything about him controlling the dream world and all that. His presence, his battle was really fun. His music that goes with him is cool. How he can turn into bat form. He's basically a vampire, but also a entity. And something cool is that when he attacks, it's kind of reminiscent to Cacoletto, which was one of the main villains in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. And Antasma just has that cool presence to him. And I thought he honestly could have returned in a 2D Mario game. He just is honestly a sick villain, and it's very sad to see him not return. And finally, I want to go over something that is actually not an enemy or a boss, but it is a very creepy Easter egg, I guess you could call it, and that are the Hell Valley Sky Trees from Super Mario Galaxy 2 that appeared in Shiverburn Galaxy. If you would look up toward the mountain sides in this galaxy, you would see these creatures just standing at you, these figures. They are known as the Hell Valley Sky Trees. They have done nothing. They have not really appeared, and there's something similar to that also in Super Mario 3D Land at the end of 4-4. If you wait for a little while, he will appear. A weird phenomenon that's been going on in a bunch of 3D Mario games. No one knows what these guys are, and no one knows if they will ever come back. And there you have it, Toads and Toadettes. Those are just a fraction of some of the forgotten Mario enemies. Let me know if you want to see any of these Mario enemies come back. I certainly do want to see a few of these come back. And also comment down below any other Mario enemies that you maybe would have wanted to see me cover. Like I said, there's a bunch other ones. I just picked a select few as I didn't want to make this video too long. If you did enjoy, I do have other content like Mario content or just Nintendo content on my channel. Please consider liking and subscribing. It's red, maybe you love red. I can agree, red is a lovely color, so maybe try it out. On that note, guys, I'll see you in the next one.